Assalamu alaikum students. In the last lesson we discussed about the reasons why World War II was started. Today we will discuss the consequences of World War II. Remember, World War II lasted about 6 years. World War II was between Axis powers, Germany, Italy and Japan, and the Allied powers, Great Britain, France, Soviet Union and United States. Officially, World War II began in September 1939 when Germany invaded Poland. The result of the World War II was that the Allied power won the war when German and Japanese surrendered to the Allies in 1945. World War II was the deadliest war of human history, where around 70 million people were killed. As a result of this war, the emergence of two superpowers took place. A Cold War started between these two superpowers. We will discuss the reasons in detail. Another aftermath of the war was the creation of UNO. Last but not the least was the creation of the State of Israel. Let's take these one by one. The first one is the emergence of the two superpowers. As I have said before, United States and Soviet Union were allies during the World War II. When the war ended in 1945, these two countries emerged as the two superpowers. However, the wartime allies turned into bitter enemies. Why? Why did the Soviet Union and the USA become rivals after the Second World War, even though they fought on the same side? The answer to this question is that Soviet Union and the United States were rivals even before the war. What was the reason? To understand this, you must know how these countries were working. USA was the capitalist state and USSR was the communist state. In the capitalist state, the economy is largely free from the state control, while the government is democratically elected and the freedom of speech is cherished. While in the communist state, the state is administered from the center with control economy and the society strictly in the hand of Communist Party-led government, and there is no freedom of speech. In 1930s, the American government was suspicious towards communist approach of Soviet Union and disliked it because the USA had the capitalist economy. The difference was in their ideologies. However, both nations needed each other for the war. They started working against each other before the war was over. A big reason for the deterioration of their relationship was when USSR stole the nuclear technology from the United States. Both these countries were now nuclear power. The United States wanted to rule along capitalist line, while the Soviet Union was following the communist line. These two superpowers divided the world into two competing blocs, which was capitalism and communism. The result. What was the result? Well, you know the result. The result was the Cold War, of course. The Cold War was the name given to the relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States after World War II. It became known as Cold War because there wasn't any large-scale direct and warm fighting between the USA and the Soviet Union. This Cold War lasted from around 1947 till 1991. I have already talked about the reasons of the Cold War, which were The political reasons: there was democracy in USA and the dictatorship in USSR. Economical reasons: both the superpower broadcasted and boasted propaganda against each other, denouncing the other side in hope to gain prestige and support from the other countries. To ensure containment, US introduced the Marshall Plan. This was a process of delivering economic aid, including food, machinery, building material, expertise, and in some cases money, to the countries in Europe that were seen to be in danger of being taken over by the communists. While USSR kept its satellite countries under control by force, few satellite states were Poland, Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, and East Germany. The Cold War ended with the collapse of USSR in 1991 due to the insufficient economic system and the lack of freedom and war with Afghanistan. Let's go to the next reason, and that is the United Nations Organization. The United Nations came into being on 24th October 1945 after the World War II to keep peace in the world. Nearly all the countries joined the United Nations so that wars, especially with nuclear weapons, could be avoided. The preamble of the charter were to maintain international peace and security, to develop friendly relationship among nations, to achieve international cooperation in solving economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian problems. General Assembly. The main body of United Nations is General Assembly. It is the main organ of UN. It discusses any matter arising under the UN Charter and make a recommendation to the members. It has 193 member countries, each of which has one vote regardless of its size and population. The Security Council. Work to resolve security issues. There are 5 permanent members: United States, China, France, UK, and USSR, and 10 members of other nations elected by the General Assembly after 2 years. The Economic and Social Council. The Economic and Social Council work for the global economic and social affairs. It has 54 members elected from all regions. It is responsible for the cooperation between states regarding economic and social matters. The Trustee Council. The Trustee Council supervises the administration of dependent territories. This system was created at the end of the Second World War. The International Court of Justice works to settle legal disputes and provide an advisory opinion on legal questions. It is composed of 15 judges which are elected for 9 years by the UN General Assembly to settle the disputes among the states. The Secretariat. Secretariat works to prevent conflicts or promote the peaceful settlement of disputes between the countries, and it is made up of an international staff working at the UN headquarters in New York. Let's come to the last consequence, and that is the creation of Israel. During World War I, the Ottoman Empire sided Germany and Austria-Hungary. Britain promised Arabs that if they will help them fight Ottomans, they will give Palestine to them. While they promised Jewish homeland in Palestine if Jews will support them during the World War I, which is also known as Balfour Declaration. After the World War II, many countries felt tremendous guilt over what took place during the Holocaust. The newly formed United Nations felt the same, that a Jewish homeland should be created in the Middle East. In 1948, United Nations voted to create Israel in the country of Palestine located in the Middle East. Palestinians didn't like this idea of creating Israel. They refused to acknowledge Israel. In May 1948, a war broke between Israel and the Arab countries. Israel won the war, ending up taking more land and creating a state of Israel. I hope you are clear about the consequences of the World War II. Now, answer the following questions. Why were the states which surrounded the USSR known as satellite states? What is the role played by UNO to stop wars among countries? What is the impact of World War II on the subcontinent? Thank you very much.